Yet another morning video. Kind of a brain dump here. So I watched a TikTok of my sister, my biological sister, not my adopted sister. We have more in common with my biological sister than I do my adopted sister. Ideologies are a lot different. But she was, I guess there was a questionnaire that asked her what she's annoyed about, and she said men. Now I know that right now in her life, she's not doing so well with her husband. She's a recovering drug addict. And I know that might be a little too much information. She's been posting it on a social media site. So I'm going to make an assumption that gives me some permission to say that about her. But basically, from what I've been understanding, what I've been seeing is that her husband's been holding it against her because it caused a lot of problems. It caused her to put them in debt that they aren't prepared to handle. I understand that way too much, but of course my issues wasn't drug related, but other reasons. So she's kind of upset about men because every man she knows, except for me, I'm not like that. I am with her on the abortion issue, and that's what this was about. She's, she's upset because men think like they treat women like property. And they spread their, she said, just spread your legs open, and then they have the audacity to tell you to keep your legs closed, and then they want to take away, your right and your ability to not be pregnant, basically. And there's people on the left that are for banning abortion. But most of the people who want to ban abortion are on the right. And a lot of it is religious based, okay? They're not using the science, they're not understanding human rights, and they're not understanding the idea of America, or the United States of America, is to be free. How can you be free if you can't do what you want to do with your own body? I think it shouldn't be banned at all. I mean, hell, if you want to cut a limb off, be my guest. I think maybe there might have to be some psychological evaluations, especially if it's a limb like, I don't know, a hand or a leg. Because there are some people who do want to do that, and there's a psychological explanation for it, but it's not there's a reason for it. It's hard to explain. But if someone wants to do that, I think with a little bit of screening, you should be able to do. I don't care. Not my body, not my life, not my problem, not my say. Now, when it comes to women and abortion, who am I? It's getting fuzzy. Who am I to say anything? I'm a guy. I don't have those parts. I don't know what it's like to be pregnant. And honestly, with I got 6 kids. Let's see. 3 of them were born vaginally. 3 of them were born C-section. Honestly, either way, I don't know how a woman could want to continue to do that. I had 3 of my ex, and she had 2 more with her current husband. I don't know how someone could want to continue to have children, to be cut open and have the child pulled out, or to squeeze it through your vagina, which I know has to be fucking painful as fuck. And that's just coming through the vagina. That's not talking about the labor pains and the contractions and pushing it through your body, stretching and stretching and stretching your body beyond what would be considered reasonable. I mean, that's got to be painful. And then there's the changes to your body during the pregnancy that doesn't even have to deal with something growing inside of you. Just the hormonal changes of your body that come with pregnancy. It changes your body a lot. I mean, your boobs grow. You got all kinds of things going on with the hormones in your body, causing all kinds of, and not to mention, it doesn't come from nothing. Okay, that baby is put together in the womb, okay, by pulling resources from the mother's body, and so it pulls from you. That's why women have higher rates of osteoporosis, bone density loss, calcium. They lose their teeth. Most women will lose their teeth because it pulls the calcium right out of your body. That's why I worry about my wife. She had gastric bypass. She has absorption issues. She has deficiencies just on her own, let alone in pregnancy. And that's why I don't want to have any more kids with her, because I worry about her health. Okay, not just, I don't want any more kids on top of that. Okay, and that's a decision that her and I have to make together. I mean, if she really wants another kid, and I absolutely don't, she could go find someone else. That would really suck and just be extremely shitty. But her body, her life, her choice. We decided to have a life together. Anyone, I could end it, she could end that anytime we want, even though we're married. That's life. That's freedom, right? Hopefully that never happens. I don't want any more children. I don't think it'd be safe for her to have any more children. That it's already wreaked havoc on her. But like I said, I don't know how a woman could want to do that more than once. You know, it's not ripping from your vagina to your anus. I mean, you know, unless you've been there and seen it and actually, you know, care about your partner. I mean, it just seems like the people who are legislating these things, who are trying to ban this, most of them are white old men, and the women, I don't understand how they could be on that bandwagon, to be honest. But then again, if they're religious, they're in a cult, and they believe shit against their own will. They subjugate themselves in many ways. I don't understand it. I really don't. But I have no frame of reference as far as to the actual experience that a woman has when they're pregnant, when they give birth, or anything along those lines. How can I? I don't have those parts. I don't have to deal with that stuff. Now, here I am. I'm giving you my opinion. I have every right. I don't like the line that women have, well, if you don't have those parts, you don't have a right to have an opinion about it. No. I have every right to have an opinion about it. I don't have a right to legislate about it. That's the difference. I should not be telling you what to do with your own body. And that includes pregnancy. Now, the only situation where the opinion really matters and where it could have a say is in a relationship. Okay, but ultimately that choice goes with the one who has to deal with the pregnancy, the woman. The woman has to deal with it. And so ultimately the choice is hers. If you don't like that choice, well, maybe you shouldn't be in that relationship. You know, my wife doesn't like abortion. She doesn't like the idea of abortion. But she also understands the freedom of choice. So she's pro-choice. She doesn't believe that you should ban abortion. She just would never get an abortion herself. And that's a perfectly valid position to have. If you don't like abortions, don't get an abortion. But don't tell other people they can't have one. That's my position. That's my sister's position. That's a lot of women's positions. The problem is we don't have hardly any women that are dealing with this legislation. The Supreme Court is filled with white religious men. Most of them are now conservative, and so they're not supposed to be political. They're not supposed to have or use that kind of bias in their judgments, but they do. It's just the nature of it. That's why we wanted to have an even amount. So that's the whole point. But the Republicans, they want to push their will on everybody, and so they stacked the court. And the only way we're not going to unstack the court is if we basically add more judges to the Supreme Court to level it out. And honestly, I think that's what we should do. We should level it out by adding more Supreme Court judges. And if they don't like it, well, they can either let the issue go so that we have an even amount of left and right judges, or they can add another one. We'll have 100 judges on there. I don't give a fuck. But we need that equal amount so that the opposing views, one can't overrule the other. They can, talk amongst themselves against the issues, but they're not supposed to use their political bias. Okay? That's not the point of the court. That's why we have this whole Roe versus Wade thing going on right now. It's because we have that imbalance. Because they're using their bias. Because that was the whole point of putting them in. To undo it. But why? To tell women that what they can and cannot do with their own bodies. we're telling women that if you're pregnant, you are now property of the state. Is what we're telling women. And I don't like that. A woman should have a right to choose. Roe versus Wade gave good regulation on it. It's regulated. It isn't. There's no such thing as partial birth abortions or anything like that. They make up this straw man argument saying that, oh, well, they give birth and then they decide to kill it. No. Or partial, they kill it during the birthing, but no. Partial birth abortions are a sad thing that happens. These women they're induced into labor to birth a dead baby because the baby died inside of them. But the right wing wants to come out and say, no, they're just giving these partial birth abortions and they're just killing the babies whimsically, whenever they want. No. And that was the whole point of Roe versus Wade, was to allow the right to have an abortion up to a point, and then it gets harder. You have to have reasons to. Okay? Maybe Down syndrome or disfigurement or something like that. Or so you can abort on the second trimester, but only if certain circumstances exist. And then when it comes to the third trimester, it's a no-go unless the mother's life is in danger by continuing the pregnancy. But now, in some states, they want to ban it so that even if it's an ectopic, if I can say the right word, pregnancy, where it's in the fallopian tube, to where, that you're not allowed to have an abortion. You have to carry it to term. Well, the result of carrying a ectopic pregnancy to term is death. Death to the baby and the mother. Because that's not where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be in the uterus, on the wall of the uterus. And my sister's right. These men, they expect you to open your legs for them so that, they can get their jollies off. But then, if they get you pregnant, well, that's your problem. But then they want to say, well, that's your problem that you're pregnant. We're not going to give you a choice to do anything about it, though. And that's why you have women that'll take an old wire metal coat hanger and stick it up their vagina to cause an abortion. And then they die from it, or they get hurt from it. They cause damage. Have to have a hysterectomy and all that stuff. Is that what you want? You want back alley abortions? You want women sticking coat hangers in their vaginas because they can't stand the idea of being pregnant, and so they stop it by any means necessary? Is that what you want? Because by banning abortion, illegal, safe abortions, that's what you're doing. It's a medical procedure that the government should not be involved in. This is a violation of patient-doctor confidentiality is what it is. I mean, if I have medical bills, okay, and I want to get rid of them, they're on my credit, right? I haven't paid them. They're on my credit. I can get rid of those very easily because the lawyer will say, we need an itemized bill for the court to hear on these items that we want removed. And they'll just remove them because they can't. Because all I have to say is, hey, you can't give those details to the court because patient-doctor confidentiality or something along those lines. Well, having an abortion is a medical procedure. And that should be discussed and decided between the doctor and the patient, not the government. And that's the other thing. The right wing's always talking like, well, we want less government. But the ideas, the things that they push for are the biggest fucking government possible. They want to get into your vagina and tell you what you can and cannot do with it. They say they want less government. No. The things that you have to look at the record, okay? The less government they want is when it comes to corporations. They don't want any regulations on corporations, on business, on commerce. But when it comes to your personal life, they want to tell you you can't have abortions, you can't masturbate, you can't have butt sex or oral sex, because sodomy, that also oral falls into that. Who are they to tell you what the fuck to do in your own fucking relationship? I'm going to tell you who you can and cannot love. What kind of freedom is that? Is that freedom? No, I don't fucking call that freedom. That's authoritarianism. That's against everything that America stands for. Don't say gay. We can't teach about the difference of relationships and orientation, sexual orientations, how some men love men and some women love women, and so on and so forth. In certain classroom settings, even when you have a child there that has gay parents. It's stupid. It's done. Not that they're more worried about that than they are about this 18-year-old who could just on a whim go buy two assault rifles, AR-15s, whatever, and go shoot up a school. How they're not even, they don't even want to talk about the cops that just stood there for a fucking hour instead of going in there and doing their goddamn job, what they've been trained to fucking do. Oh God. So yeah, I agree with my sister. It's not my choice. I shouldn't have a right to legislate. I disagree that I shouldn't have an opinion. Obviously I do, and I should be able to state my opinion. That's freedom of speech. But I should not have any right to legislate between a woman and her doctor. Maybe becoming pregnant for some women can be a death sentence. Do we allow that? Do we just say, sorry, you're going to die because you have to carry it to term? What's the point in that? Well, we can't kill unborn babies. Yet you're killing the mother that's carrying the unborn baby. We're so fucked up in this country. We've become the laughing stock of the world. People in other countries, they don't understand what's going on here. They think we're fucking nuts. Or they feel sorry for those of us who are stuck in this insanity. It's idiocracy in this country. And we need to pull ourselves out of it. We can start first by saying to the Supreme Court, fuck you, we're going to have abortions whether you like it or not. Because the plain and simple truth to it is, and this has been documented, witnessed. Republicans who vote to ban abortion, who run on family values, have mistresses that they get pregnant when they're having an affair with them, right? And what do? They go get a fucking abortion. They go take their woman there to get an abortion and they fucking pay for it. But you can't have an abortion because you're just a regular person. So yeah, there's my opinion. I have an opinion on abortion. I think it should be allowed. I don't think it's any of my fucking business what a woman does with her body. I don't think it's any woman's business what a man does with his body. Plain and simple. Not my business. I mean, that's like the government coming in and say, no, you cannot have a vasectomy. I gotta do another video just on that. Ugh. Shit just pisses me off.